My name is David. I work as a chef at a well-known hotel, and I made the mistake of renting an apartment on the outskirts of Albuquerque, New Mexico. I didn't move into that place because it was nice. I moved there because it was suspiciously cheap. The building was old, made of faded, crumbling bricks. It sat at the very end of Sandia Crest Road, a place where you hear nothing but the dry, desert wind kicking up dust. My first night there. I was unpacking boxes on the hardwood floor, listening to the sharp, agonizing creak of the boards with every step I took. That was when I noticed it. In the kitchen, there was a small hole in the wall, tucked behind the refrigerator. I figured it was just normal wear and tear from an old building. But when I looked closer, it looked like it had been bored out by a sharp tool, perfectly round, about the size of a thumb. I didn't think much of it at the time. Old buildings are full of oddities, right? But at 3 a.m., I woke up to a sound, a faint, rhythmic tapping. It was coming from inside that hole. I tried to ignore it. I buried my head under my pillow. But the sound didn't stop. It was a slow, deliberate cadence. 3 taps. Then silence for 5 seconds. Then 3 more. A chill ran straight down my spine. I got up slowly, trembling, and grabbed my phone's flashlight. I walked toward the kitchen. The second I shined the light into that hole, everything stopped. I froze. I leaned in, peering through that narrow opening, and all I saw was absolute darkness on the other side. But then the smell hit me. It was like rotting meat, mixed with the sharp, chemical sting of cheap hospital disinfectant. I stumbled back, hit the edge of the table, and the silverware in the drawer spilled out, crashing onto the floor. It was so loud, it shattered the silence of the night. And then, from behind the wall, I heard it. A faint, wet, heavy breathing. It sounded like someone was pressing their nose right up against the other side of that hole, inhaling and letting out a muffled, ragged exhale. My limbs felt paralyzed. I couldn't move for a full minute. Eventually, I backed away, reached my bedroom, and locked the door behind me. I spent the rest of the night sitting on the edge of my bed, terrified to close my eyes. Every time I tried to drift off, that breathing got louder. It moved from the kitchen to the wall shared with my bedroom, as if something was walking inside the void between the walls, watching every move I made. By the time the early morning light crept in, and I thought I could finally leave for work, I found something on my bedroom door handle. It was covered in a slimy, gray substance, like wet ash, and there were clear human fingerprints, but they were unnaturally long, like the hand that left them belonged to something deeply, terrifyingly deformed. The next day, I tried to convince myself I was just exhausted, hallucinating from stress. I went to a nearby buy low store to get some supplies to patch that hole. But the man behind the counter, an old guy with a face like crumpled parchment, looked at me in a way that made my skin crawl. When I asked him about the building's history, he stopped wiping the counter, looked me dead in the eyes, and whispered, "Don't be there after sunset." He didn't explain. He just said the building used to be a warehouse for an old pharmaceutical plant, and it was shut down back in the 90s after 3 workers disappeared under mysterious circumstances. I went back to the apartment, my nerves completely shot. When I opened the door, it looked the same, but the chaos was worse. Boxes were ripped open, like something was frantically digging for something specific. My clothes were strewn across the floor, and that stench of disinfectant was unbearable. I decided right then, I'm leaving. I started packing my bag with frantic shaking hands, and then, click, the sound of the front door deadbolt locking. My heart stopped. I had locked the door, sure, but the key was still in my pocket. The handle started to turn, slowly, then stopped. It wasn't like someone was trying to break in, it was like someone was playing with the handle, moving it a few millimeters back and forth, testing the strength of the lock. I screamed, "Who's there? I'm calling the police." No answer. Just silence. 2 minutes of absolute suffocating silence. Then I heard the sound of metal scratching against the wood on the outside, like someone was using a knife to carve something. I crept up to the door, looked through the peephole, and saw only the dark hallway. But then, just outside my field of vision, something moved on the floor. A hand. Pale, ghostly skin, reaching out. Slowly, I needed to touch the doorframe. I fell backward, gasping for air. I ran to the window to escape, but I realized all the windows had been nailed shut with heavy wooden boards. Years ago. The apartment wasn't a home. It was a prison. Suddenly, every light in the apartment cut out at once, and I heard a sound, a muffled, dry chuckle, like bones grinding together. It was coming from the closet right behind me. The closet I knew was locked shut minutes ago, but now, the door was wide open. The darkness inside seemed to swallow the dim light of my phone. And then, I saw it. 2 pale eyes glowing from the depths of the closet, completely still, watching me from the heart of the void. I didn't think for a single second. I just threw my entire body at the front door, trying to break it down. The closet behind me was moving. I could hear the sound of bare feet hitting the hardwood floor. Slow, heavy, deliberate steps. I hit the floor, scrambling to get up, and felt a hand, cold as ice, grab my ankle. It was a grip so strong, no human being could possibly possess it. I screamed at the top of my lungs, kicked with everything I had to break free, and I heard the fabric of my pants rip. I managed to scramble away and bolted toward the kitchen. There was no way out. I grabbed a kitchen knife from the counter and spun around to face the dark. There was no one there, but the room, it was changing. The furniture had been pushed aside. The walls were covered in strange primitive markings, jagged lines drawn in dried blood, and words in a language I couldn't understand. Then suddenly, a voice started playing from my own phone, a weird, distorted recording of my own voice, saying, "He found me. He's standing right behind me. Don't turn around. If you turn around, everything dies." My blood ran cold. I didn't want to look, but the curiosity, it was like a sickness, and I felt forced to turn my head. Slowly, in the corner, stood a figure, terrifyingly thin, wearing ragged clothes that looked like old factory worker gear. It was over 7 feet tall, its limbs so long they actually touched the floor. It had no face, just skin stretched tight over a protruding skeletal skull. Didn't move, it just stood there. That same muffled, wet breathing coming from its chest. The same sound I'd heard from the hole that first night. Suddenly, my phone died. Absolute darkness engulfed the room. I couldn't feel my limbs anymore. I just felt an intense, freezing cold pressing in on me. And a voice whispered directly into my right ear with chilling clarity. "You aren't the first, and you won't be the last." In that moment, I felt cold, stiff fingers cover my eyes. I heard the sound of glass shattering all around me. And now, I don't know if I passed out or if I'm still there, trapped in that apartment, while the world outside still thinks I moved out of Albuquerque a long time ago. The truth is, I never left, and there's someone new who just moved in. And right now, I'm standing behind the wall, just waiting for the right moment to whisper to them, "Don't be here after sunset."